when you jump in, I've got some of the things to show in case people are interested. But you're going to install Gutenberg. It's literally just called Gutenberg. Install that. Once you do, I'm not sure people down the back will be able to see, but right down the bottom there's a thing called Gutenberg, which then has a demo. But otherwise, come into Pages, and this is because I was playing around with WooCommerce, which works quite nicely with the new editor, so that's good. E-commerce is difficult enough without breaking. Alright, so this is what it looks like. It's quite different. So one of the things that it doesn't currently have, you can't actually change the permalinks, which is really, really annoying. Well, I was going to code something up about it, but I was busy preparing for this. So, yeah, it'll be done hopefully in time for the kind of important to be able to change it. So at the moment, whatever you set as your initial title is what the permalink is going to be, and there's no way to change it before or after. It's just automatically done. Yeah. But there was a whole lot of other stuff that changed recently. So then, see this button up here that's got all weird code? I fixed that. That was one of the changes that I made, fixing this little. Alright, so publish. It now checks to make sure that you're ready to publish, so you can change the date and everything. So I don't know that this is necessary, having that double confirmation, and people are perturbed by it. So let's just publish it. And you'll see on the front end that it pretty much just looks as you would expect. So let's exit out of that. So if you are doing a lot of writing or composing, or you just don't want this stuff in the way, you can actually hide that away just with this, or exit out of it. So when you're editing particular blocks, there's a couple of different ways of getting to it. That's funny. So you can go up here, there's the commonly used ones, so this will be personalized to your particular use. At the moment it's just standard default stuff. Most of it's going to be under blocks, so it's separated out into categories. This is really cluttered. I'm not particularly happy with how this looks or feels, so if we have any user experience people in the room and you want to have a crack at it, go for it. So there's a whole lot of different blocks that we can use, and this is a new one in here, this classic editor, which is handy. And I'm used to clicking and dragging into position. That's not how it works now. A bit weird, but it is what it is. We do have drag and drop finally. That only came a couple of days ago. So, actually,
just to clarify, this is going to launch in a few weeks.
Yeah. But it looks quite different. Like the version that is actually under development has made huge steps forward since this one here, which was 2 weeks ago. So I had the classic editor there. So this is all the stuff that you're familiar with the classic editor. It's probably screwing up because of my computer and connection. Usually this kind of stays up here. If you don't like it, this bar, which is customized to the block, if you don't like it there, you can actually throw it up to the top. These work. There we go. That's up the top now. So this is your basic paragraph block. I prefer the stuff up the top just to Show of hands, do you want it up the top or do you want it above the individual block? Alright, I'll do it above the individual block. Alright, there's no X button to remove it. So you just hit delete. Yeah. There's different ways of doing it. So you can, if you do slash and then just start typing, then it goes down. And there's ways that you can code your blocks so that they show up different things instead of just the particular title. If you're a developer, that's useful information. If you're not, I didn't say anything. So you've got the different headings here. I don't know why there's no H1. I guess they're trying to be more compliant with HTML5. So you don't even have an option to do H1s down the page. You just get this one here. There are use cases where you should be able to. But anyway. So the different headings.
One on the right.
Yeah, so, there we go.
That's right.
Thank you. So you do have it. Good. Yeah, alright. So there's ones that trigger up here. There's also ones that trigger over on the side. Let's grab a paragraph block. This is where you're going to spend most of the time, I'm guessing. So there's a couple of quick ones that can change. I should probably put some text in. So actually, I had some saved. So this has got some markdown if you are familiar with that. So let's delete all this and see what happens when you paste. So as you can see, it automatically inserts the particular blocks. This is using the markdown, so it automatically creates your heading block. And I don't know what it did to my... It worked before. Again, this isn't ready. But, so you've got... I don't particularly like how it doesn't allow you to make different sizes within individual, like within a text block. It doesn't matter whether you select it or not. If you make changes over here, it changes the entire block. So I'm pointing over at the right-hand column. So it has drop cap, which I guess some people use. I don't know, but
can you do an HTML block and use a span for it? Or?
You can, yeah. But you really don't want to have to be doing workarounds if you don't have to. There's also a slider for text size so it's a little bit more visual, or you can change the size over here. And there's a handy reset button to put everything back. So then you can change the background color for each individual block, which has its advantages, as well as the text color. And if your contrast isn't good enough, it'll actually say, hey, come on, don't be like that. You don't want to design like that.
Can we turn this off so the clients can't change their colours? Am I the only person handling that? Like, I don't want my clients to be able to change the colour of the text.
In your theme, you can actually set a custom palette for this super easily. There's code for it. Once you set that, I mean, you could set this to just a single colour, just set it to black. That'll do that. Yeah. But I like red text.
Exactly, that's for people who may be colourblind, the actual contrast.
Yeah, so there is a great focus on accessibility standards. So yeah, exactly.
So one of the accessibility standards does talk about the contrast between your background and your foreground colour, and it is something that a lot of like search engines will pick up on that in terms of how accessible your site is. So yeah, it is something that is going to affect the searchability of your site.
But not just the searchability, just the usability. You want your users to have a good experience. There's a bunch of different version things you can do with the block alignment. So you can actually align the block last time I tried this, it didn't work so well, so I'm not going to push it. You also have these two wide width and full width, which don't appear natively. You actually have to put some code into your theme. So the reason why I'm using this particular theme is the atomic theme that I mentioned in the presentation. This allows you to go wide and full width, and that actually will stretch for the entire container. So if you've got a full width page, then this will actually stretch it right the way across the entire browser, which is something that Wordpress has never been able to do. Can look quite nice. So, headings, standard stuff. So you can drag and drop, which again is a very new feature. Before you had to click these buttons, which these things kept getting in the way. So some of the controls take a bit to get used to. So I just did delete them. So you don't have to, if you're not, you can select the block somehow. Come on. It does insert these random paragraphs. I'm not happy with the controls, but they're the ones that we deal with. You would think that after all this time of playing with it, I would be good with it, but I'm not. Sorry.
So is there a issue in for that not having a sort of delete button or something there? Because I can see myself accidentally deleting stuff really easily.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of issues raised about it. No one can kind of come to a consensus about how it should be done. I think it's simple. X block over here. So one of the things that I mentioned was you can change the type. There should be a way to change it to HTML. It's over here. So in the right hand one, you can switch to edit this as HTML if you need to change that block, or edit visually, duplicate. And we've got this shared block, so you can go convert to shared block and call it whatever you want. Elegant naming conventions. And so then when you come into shared, you've got your shared block here, and it's going to use the icon that you had before. So this is a dash icon, so the standard WordPress ones, programmers, you can access that, or you can actually change it to SVG if you need to know that. So we've got these two shared blocks, so when you click into them, you'll see the name of the shared block. So if we were to change this one, what happened? What did I do? Oh, that's good. I didn't have that before. I don't know if you noticed that, but when I saved this one, it updated this one. So that applies to whether you've got across different pages, all that kind of stuff. So you could have a shared image that's your banner, ad, I don't know, like a sale or something like that. Updated in one place, does it everywhere. So that's
it. You do save blocks as well as shared blocks. So like in Beaverbuilder, you can have your global rows, for example. Just a regular saved one. So let's say I wanted that, but I wanted to alter it slightly, but not have it alter it all across the site, but I wanted to have it sort of as a quick.
So like a template block?
Yeah.
Yes, there's ways of doing that. I'll get back to you with the example once I turn on the atomic plugins. So that's a very cool feature. Otherwise, you got these images. Actually, what I wanted to show you was the cover image. So it really can get a bit messy, but what are you going to do? So, cover image. just random stock images. So this cover image. I wasn't clicking in the right spot.
You did my folder for you.
So then this would be good for header blocks or for content blocks within the theme. Once you have this full width, you can have your text in here the way it was before. It doesn't do headers, which is the way that I prefer to do it, but it at least does text, and you can change, you can turn down the background, which makes life so much easier. And I mean, you can do some basic formatting in there currently, but otherwise you would add a CSS class. Unfortunately, there's a lot of stuff that the answer is going to be add a CSS class and fix it in your theme, is that they're really trying to separate the two out. So all the styling done in the theme and everything else, like the heavy lifting done in the blog. But this cover image is a nice thing. Or also if you've got, if you just want text on the top, it saves putting it into Photoshop and editing it that way. Also allows you to have actual text, which can be good for some things, SEO, etc.
Can you make a parallax image in the background there?
There's no parallax at the moment, though I'm sure someone will code a plugin that allows that. I highly doubt that that will be in the core. That should be easy enough to code. Another one I like is this list thing. Get rid of some of this. It was just a select all, delete. So, listicle. I actually sit in a separate list block, which can make life interesting, as opposed to a paragraph block. So, watch that with your styling. I think that's pretty much it. Embeds, I'm not going to show up because I don't have internet connection and no one wants to watch me set up a hotspot. But the same as YouTube right now, if you just post a YouTube link into WordPress, it automatically does the embed wrapping. Same thing happens here. So if you post, and it happens with Twitter, with I think Facebook status. I haven't tried Facebook status, but it's in the code. But Twitter tweets and YouTube, Vimeo, anything like that, if it's embeddable, you just put the link in, it'll automatically do a wrapper around it. And for everything else, there's a whole lot of embeds in here, which I don't think that they're actually going to be there on the final one, simply because they're just namespaces for this embed block. It really is just the embed block. These are just fancy stuff that references the embed block. So, just want to go through really quick what you can expect in terms of custom plugins. So I just activated that particular plugin, and now when you come into blocks, so they put theirs into the common blocks category, and this was the one that you were talking about. So automatically, and all you can do is add the information in there, do what it tells you to do. You can't click and drag, you can't move things around. This is going to be particularly good for client stuff. So this is This is more on the custom plugin stuff. There's going to be a lot of different variations on this. I'm sure there'll be plenty of tutorials on how to create this. There'll probably be some plugins that allow you to easily create these ones for yourself, but that's a massive improvement to the core. That was the profile blocks. And as you can see, like they just referenced it, PB testimonial or whatever. You can easily do that however you want. So spacer, basic stuff, but it does extend it quite nicely. And this is the sort of thing that you can expect from places like Beaver Builder. The guy behind Beaver Builder did a post where he said that this is exactly the sort of thing that he was looking at implementing with Gutenberg. So, good stuff.
So, question, you were saying there are no styles in Gutenberg. So, if all these blocks, would we have to maintain like a separate style sheets for our thing? Basically, do a paste thing with all these layouts that a client can potentially have.
Yes. So the question was, with all these extra stuff, if we're not going to have access to it within Gutenberg, are we going to have to maintain all that stuff ourselves for our clients, or whatever? And the answer is yes. But it's not that different from what a lot of us do with the things that we use. Some of that has the custom coding that does this sort of thing, or the page builders or anything like that. For example, a contact form. It's exactly what we do with that. So it's going to be different. I think it's going to be better eventually once things are fixed.
You call Mike. We're going to hold you to that.
It is going to be better, and you're not going to have a choice. The recording block I've also played around with. That's quite nice. All right, so. Quick show of hands, because there's no point going into this next part if I'm pretty much almost finished. Who uses page builders? Anyone? I'm going to go through the next part. Actually, do we have anyone that doesn't use something like Divi? Anyone uses Divi? Alright, okay. But Divi's going to be a fun one. So I've got Divi, I've got Avada. These are installed and they're ready to go. Divi, Avada. I've got Beaver theme, generate press.
Yeah. Bootstrap classes in the same category as the
Bootstrap class is going to be an interesting one. There's actually been a lot of debate on whether this should just be built on Bootstrap, because everyone uses Bootstrap and it's awesome. You don't like Bootstrap? Alright. That's why. Someone had a casting vote. Alright, I'll get on with it. So for the themes and page builders that are broken, all of them, the fix is going to be to install this plugin. It's on the repository right now, called Classic Editor. And this is actually the fix that Matt Mullenweg said to use. So that's the one that's going to be supported for now. And it really is going to be a for now part. So you just activate that and all is well in the world. Sort of. So let's deactivate Atomic. Good deal. I forgot to activate here. Correct. Beaver Builder works exactly the same as it did before, with or without the classic editor. I do have a license. Can't be bothered putting it in. So when you have the classic editor installed, it's going to put one up here, and it's also going to be in the back end. So when for all of your page builders, if they don't have like Beaver Builder does up the top, then you're going to come back, and it's going to be exactly how you saw it before. So with Elementor, you have the plugin here, Visual Composer, Divi, they all work the same way. So
even if we're not using the classic editor, sort of once Gutenberg releases, if we install it, we can still edit our panel links here.
hey,
You're welcome.
possibly. Whether it allows you to, once it's rolled out, who knows? Because at the moment it's just a plugin as opposed to core, so that might be a way. Yes, very good, Joe. So I like it.
That is pretty nice.
Right. So then switching between the two, like that. So then Beaver Builder still works exactly the same as it did before, and this is how it'll operate afterwards. Eventually the plan for Beaver Builder is to have some of the functionality from Gutenberg come in, and then to make the rest of that available. I think the icons aren't showing because of my internet.
So it automatically sort of shows the blocks inside Beaver, converts them into blocks inside Beaver.
That's what will happen eventually, so keep an eye out.
You can connect to Flux Guest if you want to connect to the Wi-Fi. Email, so you get spam forever. Well, mine and if you want.
I like cats. Putting anything in.
Cats are pretty great.
Whoever has that email. I do feel you deserve it if you have that as your email. Good to go? No? Yes. Alright, so I did say before you've got down the bottom left hand corner, you've got a new entry that says Gutenberg. There's one called Demo, which is really worth checking out to play around with. It just creates a new post with a whole lot of internet working. So it shows off all the different stuff that's in there, so you can play around with different sizing and all of that. So some of the layouts are actually not too bad. Just go quickly through a few shows of hands for show of hands. Because that seems to be quite popular. With good reason. I hate on them, but I like them. In the right use case. So before I jump into the editor, I'll show you what it's like without this classic editor. 2 seconds, 3, 2, 1. Anyway, Sorry, we're almost there. So as you can see, there's no place to hook in. This is with Divi active. There's no place to hook it in. So I'm guessing maybe they'll have something on the right-hand side, or possibly they'll have a meta box. It's called a meta box, but it's a little confusing. But a meta box in here that prompts you with switching over. So I'm not sure how they're going to do it, but I'm sure they'll have something in there eventually. So what Divi you should be able to edit here. Use that enable. Come on. Yeah. And then there's no way to get into it. It's really, and this is the latest version of Divi. So they're not ready for that, but once, yeah. So this is with Visual Editor enabled. It's not going to work. So the fix: enable your classic editor. Enable. Refresh this page. And then down sample page, just hit edit classic, and you've got the layout. There we go. And you've got everything the way that you're used to. So that's going to be the fix for now until Divi gets its act together. They're going to have to do some major rewrites. But so there is a way around it. Do that.
Does the visual build still work?
Yes. Well, no, even if you don't have Classic Editor turned on, it still works. You just have to throw in this particular string. So if you can remember to copy and paste that one, then it'll still work. But, yeah. Alright. Everything as you knew before. So that pretty much wraps it up. Is there anything else? Any questions? That
was pretty intense.
That was intense.
Yeah.
And now you know why I've been preparing for such a long time. So, any questions?
Yeah, is it safe for like people to stick with an older version? Like instead of updating the new version of WordPress, can they just stick with the older version, or are they just going to miss out on like security updates and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, that's the thing, you're going to miss out on security updates.
Short term, yes.
Yeah.
Wait until you're ready. But long term, you do need to get on top of using 5.0 because it is not going anywhere. It's going to be sticking around forever. So the best bet is to work on it in a development environment, and then you do need to upgrade eventually. You're opening up yourself up for security issues.
And the classic editor is going to be improved. I mean, it's more so
The Classic Editor within the block, or do you mean the Classic Editor plugin?
the plugin.
The time frame that Matt was talking about was towards the end of the year. It's going to start to be phased out. But one of the other problems is that all the plugin developers are going to be pushing ahead, knowing that soon they're not going to need to support old versions, which reduces the amount of work that they have to do. So if you leave it too long, you're going to run into major issues. So it would be nice to not have to do extra work, but exactly. Or if you got in really early, you got in before the bugs, and then they messed it up, and then yes.
At the moment, you currently have a plugin installed for Gutenberg.
Yes.
Is that going to be how they start rolling out? It's going to be a plugin installation of current installs, and at a future point it'll be part of all.
When WordPress 5 rolls out, it won't be in a plugin. So the question was, I've got it as a plugin, but that's simply put into a plugin right now so that everyone can test it and get ready for what's coming, so that there's not a mad surprise and 3 weeks of not sleeping to get things ready. It's still going to be that because, let's face it, we're developers and drink way too much caffeine, but yeah, it's going to be rolled out straight. So it won't be the plugin. Sure.
Tested it with Genesis yet?
I have.
How did it go?
It works quite nicely.
Really?
Genesis and Genesis Dynamic. So what actually happens is it puts in a. Apologise that I had it set up on my initial one, but I forgot to add the extra plugins, WooCommerce and Genesis Dynamic, all that. But all the dynamic stuff or WooCommerce stuff actually lives at the bottom of the Gutenberg editor, so that's still there. That's also where Yoast goes, so it actually looks quite nice. It's a very clean interface instead of having all these extra tabs and stuff. So yes, it does work currently already with Genesis Dynamic.
Sorry, another question.
Yeah.
If you do put the classic plugin on, do you know whether that fixes the issues with the advanced custom fields?
I don't know that, unfortunately. Probably should have done a little bit more research based on
feels like the feedback that I've heard so far is that it essentially is going to be a problem. It's going to be one of the biggest problems that developers need to overcome. But that again hasn't taken into account the recent changes. So things have been shaken up a lot over the last couple of days. So I think probably just make sure you're staying atop of that community, like on Slack channels and that sort of thing. And on GitHub, if you're just following what's happening on there, there's a lot of discussion about it. So that's probably the best bet for those of you who are pretty worried about ACF, because I think most of us have used it, web developers have used it at some point.
And I apologise, I don't use it as much as I once did. I tend to just custom throw it into the functions of PHP. Any other questions? Yes?
Just a dumb question, I might miss the point.
No dumb questions.
When you have like thousands of blog posts,
Yes.
what happens to them long term? So short term, I presume that if we don't go to Reddit, then they'll be okay and we won't delay. But long term, once the classic goes away, I guess maybe on the front end in terms of rendering, does anything change with all the posts?
As it currently stands, you'll be fine. Simply because it'll pull it into a custom, like the classic editor block, and it'll just kind of sit there if you do nothing. That, from what I'm understanding, that custom editor block isn't going away, it's just the custom editor that's going, so it's been transferred into a block, so that would be a nightmare.
The custom editor blocks essentially just an entity start.
Yeah, it's just a tiny MCU block, yeah. Yes?
The increase you saw, is that rendering the browser, or is it delay from first draw, or what was the speed you saw?
That was mainly at the start, because it's not querying so much. It's not querying the MySQL database as much. So I didn't go into the Git side of things because what's actually happening is most of it is done by comments and it's essentially handled on the fly, so it doesn't have to keep firing back and talking to the database or talking to multiple different PHP files. So that's why it speeds.
To edit a page. So it's all in the back end, source speed, or is it certain?
No. The front end.
Right.
So the front end speed, what the user will experience. That's my testing. It was
because more in React, more in the browser.
Exactly. There's more work happening when you're actually setting things up, and then there's a reason why Facebook wrote React so that they could serve 1 whatever billion people super fast. So it's the same thing with that. So
did you find with the switch to React whether there's any more page weight served? When you were noticing it was faster, that made the render time, did you notice whether there was actually any change in like served assets?
There was a slight increase in the served assets. Possibly just the way that it paints the extra code that's wrapped around it, because it's now blocks instead of just a paragraph tag. So it was a slight increase.
Did they do compiled templates and stuff, or is it kind of all just render on the fly to React?
That's a very good question. At the moment, it is all render on the fly, but I'm guessing that there could be some potential for caching plugins to actually take that and paint it a lot quicker.
Yeah, that might also come in the theming aspect. If you're going down the theming path, they might start.
It would be a more theming thing, but
it's pretty in the face.
But a plugin with the caching would actually quite possibly be able to hook in quite nicely. Anything else?
So with the current things, you've got your PHP and whatever your markup's just a big mess. How is that getting around?
Poorly. Well, the theme is basically wrapping around the content as it is, and so at the moment, all that really is changing is what's inside the framework of the theme. So some themes that do interact with it. Most of the time, they're not interacting. Most of the time, it's literally just a wrapper around the content. When you get into membership sites, it's a little different. But as a general rule, it's not going to make that much of an interaction difference. But when they roll it out into the customizer and then into the theme, that's when we're in big trouble.
At the moment, you can just do the content brackets.
Yes.
And get content. For this, do you have to query each individual block and stuff like that, or?
I haven't actually messed around with any of that querying the content. I mean, it's still WordPress, so there will be a way of doing it. It's not okay. So this isn't actually built on directly into React. WordPress has a layer on top of React. So if something happens and they need to change it, they can switch out React for something else. So it's a little bit different from React, but it's WordPress React in the same way that it's WordPress PHP. Yes.
So there's no additional CSS or JS files loaded on the front?
There wasn't in my testing, but I didn't look too deeply into that because those files are almost always done by the theme. So yeah, I mean some of the page builders load JS and CSS, which that's my main quibble with Divi because it loads so many of them. But it doesn't, because the Gutenberg editor doesn't actually bring in any CSS. It doesn't
Probably just be a new default WordPress class structure that specified by the page.
Most likely. Yes. Yeah, the full width one, there's code. I probably should have added it to the resources, but there's opt-in code for your palette and for the wide. There'll probably be other stuff around, but those are the two main things that are in there now. Anyone else? Yes.
Not a developer, as a user of DBT.
Even better.
We stopped. I was lazy to start.
That's okay.
This one was
Okay, so literally all it was showing how it looked without the Classic Editor plugin, and then once you install the Classic Editor plugin, you get this one at the top, and then you go there, or you can access it from the list of pages. There's one that's going to be called Classic Editor. You just click that, and you get back to what you're used to.
So,
and eventually
there's
Divi.
going to be a lot of problems, or I can just buy a safe team to keep.
Most of the premium themes, they're going to be safe because their livelihood depends on innovating and making sure that they're up to date. Most of them aren't yet up to date, but they're probably looking at the speed of the changes. I was saying to Joe, I think one of my commits was number 6,000, and that was a week or so ago, and it's now already up to 6,700 or something like that. There's a lot of people doing a lot of development.
Changes in the last week to
Sorry, keep speaking. I bet. I need to know. I need to learn to speak human. Yeah.
So it used to be a lawyer mic, so we don't expect it to be. I have a question for you. Okay, so
Gentleman's on the back. Jump in.
So what do you suggest the best way to get familiar with the whole thing? Was it still need to download, say, the plugin that always save it as a draft or require?
Don't run this on your live server.
Send the Meetup to WAN.
Do not run this on your live server at all. It's very much a development thing. Create a new website. Either do it on local, so the way that I've got it set up with XAMPP, super easy.
on the Meetup group and also on the Slack channel WP Perth, I'll throw up a link on. It's got a really easy tutorial you can follow on how to install XAMPP, which is the program that Mike's running it off at the moment. So it allows you to install WordPress locally on your computer. So it's not actually, you don't have to worry about hosting and that sort of thing. That's probably the best way to test it out in a local environment. So you can, yeah, so you can take it back up. Yeah, take it back up with your existing site, whack it onto XAMPP, and then do your testing on that before putting it onto a live server.
And then once WordPress 5 rolls out, you would roll it out on your development one and check that everything's all good. Call someone in a panic when it's not, and then once it is all good, then you know that you're clear to go ahead and upgrade your main site. Yeah, don't expect to be upgrading your main site to WordPress 5 in the first week that it rolls out.
How about Jetpack? Anywhere ready to go? You must have a lot of work waiting.
Yeah, they're so focused on Gutenberg that pretty much everything, WordPress multi-site, the REST API, actually the REST API integrates really well with this. So if you're involved in any API programming, check that out, get up to speed on that. But yeah, Jetpack is lagging, multi-site, it's all lagging while all the resources are committed to this one.
So you mentioned that the customizer was sort of the next step after Gutenberg, like the editor is released. So what does that mean in terms of our homepages at the moment, where not a lot of people have a homepage that uses sort of a different template to what they have on their inner pages? So for static homepage, you've got a lot of widgets and stuff on there. Is that all going to work the same still for those developers that are not using like a builder or something for their homepage?
All those widgets are going to be replaced with blocks. So it's going to work fairly similarly, but it is going to change. And by the customizer, I mean the actual, wherever it is, there's a link somewhere where it says customizer, and you change all the back end, it's the entry level theme customization, that side of things.
So
but they really haven't gone into details of what they're going to do with it.
So from the front end, for someone who, say, has a website that uses like a classic, say, Genesis theme, or I assume like a lot of like the Astra themes and stuff like that, and they've got a lot of widgets and things on their homepage, and at the moment they will probably be editing them just by like going to the front end, going to the customize, and then editing their widgets directly in there. That's now going to be done through Gutenberg, or?
Yeah, so the widgets page, that's going to be going.
Yep.
I don't know whether it's going immediately or what, but it will be going in the very near future. And everything that was handled within that is going to be done. Is going to be done through the blocks. What I think you're asking for Genesis, for Dynamics particularly, those are done through the widgets page. All the the others are pretty much done with page builders. So page builders, as I've shown, page builders are going to be fine.
So all your widgets are going to be converted to blocks though, right? So the widgets themselves will just become a different block type.
Yeah, well, there's actually a widget block type.
Yeah.
So, well, actually, there's a widget category. So all those random widgets that we like to click and drag in, those are just going to become new blocks. Anyone else?
Is anyone going to fork 4.9?
I don't know.
There's been so much talk about it.
Yeah, no.
I don't think it's going to happen though. I don't think it will continue.
The question was, is anyone going to fork 4.9? Actually, I'm pretty sure that's how Matt Holloway got started. He forked a popular CMS. Forking means that you take what's there and create your own version and then start implementing that. It starts with the initial, but then can vary quite widely. But I mean, that's how WordPress got started, so who knows? But I don't think so. It's simply because WordPress already runs a third of the internet, so there's not that much outrage about it. And once this finally is ready, there'll be even less outrage, I'm predicting. There'll be a few things that people will just hate. And so there'll be an opportunity for plugin developers, theme developers, whatever, to come in and fix them, same as we've always done. Yes?
Responsive design is quite clunky. Does it do any better than React?
This is not good in responsive design right now. But a lot of that responsive work is supposed to be done with the theme. I don't like how it's...
Have a better way to do it, right?
Not right now. So you've got... And that's one thing that there's been a lot of talk about with columns. So you can create columns and have all that niceness, but it then doesn't go responsive and split up the way that we like it to. That's just going to have to be done in custom CSS, unfortunately.
So, same as now.
Exactly. But once the editor is rolled out into the theme, then that's when you're going to get that connection between the two.
I assume for people that are using like Bootstrap, something like Genesis or whatever, where they've got existing classes built in, like one half and one third and stuff like that, you probably just like had a section that you CSS classes, so you just throw your one half first and that kind of thing on there, and that should deal with a lot of the responsive issues pretty quickly.
Maybe there should be. Okay, I guess that's it. No, maybe there should be a plugin that allows that also. We'll see. I think that's about it.
Is there any more questions tonight before we wrap up? Cool. Well, big round of applause to Mike. He's done a little part of